Let me start my topic. So in the last class, we have seen what is spread spectrum and what is the use of that spread spectrum. Okay, so spread spectrum in the sense like what we'll do, we will spread the spectrum by using some particular sequence. Okay, so how to spread that sequence, that we'll see in the next classes. So the use of this spreading the spectrum, okay, will ensure secure communication. Hope all of you are able to see my screen and hear me also, right? Yes? Are you all able to see my screen? Okay, okay. Okay, so in this module, we'll study what is spread spectrum and what is the use of spread spectrum and how we will be able to achieve the spread spectrum. All these concepts we'll be studying in this module. So spread spectrum may basically it will provide secure communication. Okay, so that is the main reason we'll go with the spread spectrum. But here we have two features which has to be employed so that the secure communication will be properly obtained. Is the first one is the bandwidth of the spread spectrum. When we are transmitting the data. Okay, so the data that is to be transmitted using the spread spectrum techniques will require more bandwidth than the data that will be transmitted without any spread spectrum. Okay, so that is what the first feature, and the second feature is like whatever sequence or whatever sequence you are using at the transmitter end to transmit the data, the same PN sequence should be. PN sequence is nothing but the pseudo noise sequence. Okay, pseudo noise sequence. So whatever you are using at the transmitter end, the same thing should be used at the receiver end as well. Okay, so that is what the other feature. Okay, only if the pseudocode what is generated at the transmitter end, if you are using the same pseudocode at the receiver end, then only you'll be able to retrieve back the original signal. So that is what features or like these are the compulsory things that need to be adopted in the spread spectrum communication. Okay, so some of the applications include military. Okay, so you'll be able to send the information without like it will not allow if you are using the spread spectrum techniques, it will not allow the unauthorized user to get the information. Okay, so that is one application where the spread spectrum is used. Okay, and coming to the block diagram representation of the digital communication system along with spread spectrum. Okay, so this is what the block diagram. So here what we'll do, first we'll channel encode whatever information we are getting. Will first channel encode in the sense what we'll do, this channel encoder will here what we'll do is we'll add redundancy to the information. Okay, so the reason why we are adding the redundancy to the information is to provide error detection. Okay, so while transmitting, if there are any errors occurring, this channel encoding process will help us to avoid the or to find out the errors if any errors are present. So that is what the use of the channel encoder. So the channel encoder will be using the error correcting techniques and will code the information. That coded information is given to the modulator. Okay, and this modulator is getting an additional input which is nothing but the pseudo noise sequence. Okay, PN sequence or pseudo noise sequence. Okay, so what this modulator will do, it will take the incoming data from the channel encoder and the pseudo random sequence. Okay, pseudo noise sequence or pseudo random sequence both mean the same. Okay, so that sequence will be taken to the modulator where this modulator will help to spread the spectrum. Okay, so here it is getting the signal whatever it is coming from the encoder, it is getting modulated by using the PN sequence. That is what I can tell you. Okay, then after modulated, the signal is transmitted through the channel. Okay, so from the channel it is given to the receiver. Okay, receiver consists of demodulator, because here what we are doing, we are modulating the signal by using the pseudo noise sequence. So here we need to demodulate it. If we have to demodulate demodulate it, we need again the same PN sequence. Okay, so that is the reason I was saying that whatever PN sequence you are using at the transmitter end, the same thing should be used at the receiver end as well. Okay, so here we'll be using the pseudo random sequence which we have generated. The same thing, whatever is generated at the transmitter end, the same sequence should be generated at the receiver end also. Okay, so demodulator, it will take this random PN sequence and it will demodulate the signal, and after demodulation it is given to the channel decoder. So the function of this channel decoder is whatever redundancy is added at the transmitter end, that will be removed here, so that the final output will be nothing but your output data. Okay, so this is the overall general block diagram of digital communication system along with the spectrum, and this is one of the important questions. Now, see here I'm saying that we'll be generating the PN sequence. So how exactly we are doing? Okay, so that for that we have to use flip-flops. Okay, so flip-flops, and the flip-flops will not have any input. Okay, so instead of input, what we'll do, we will feed, we will feed back the signal. Okay, so whatever signal is obtained at the output here, if you just observe in this case, whatever signal I'm getting here, this signal what I'll do, I will give as feedback to the input itself. Okay, so that is what the feedback means. Okay, so here we are using the shift registers and the M flip-flops to realize the register. We know very well that we need flip-flops. Okay, so here we'll be using M flip-flops. Okay, then as I've mentioned, we'll not be giving any additional input. Okay, and here see, when we are shifting the data, what we'll do, initially we will initialize all the data, all the flip-flop outputs to some particular sequence. So generally we'll do it as 0000, but in the PN sequence generator, apart from making all the outputs to 0000, initializing to 000, apart from this you can use any other sequence. Okay, any other sequence can be used, but not 0000. Okay, so this is what the third thing. And if you want to find out what is the length, see here I'm giving now I'm making all the outputs to a particular number. Maybe apart from 0000, I can give anything. Okay, maybe 1001, something like this. Okay, so with this there will be some PN sequence generated. How it is generated in detail we'll see, but there will be some sequence generated. So if we want to find the length of that sequence, then it is given by n is equal to 2 power m minus 1, where m is nothing but number of flip-flops we are using. Okay, number of flip-flops we are using in the shift register. So n will be equal to 2 power m minus 1. So here I've just taken one example. If I have 4 shift registers, then n equal to 2 power 4 minus 1, which will be nothing but here 15. So I'll have 15, my PN sequence will consist of 15 bits, and after 15th bit again it will repeat the same one. Okay, so let me consider I have just 6 bits. Let me consider 101101. Okay, so after the 6th bit, what will happen? Again it will start from here. Okay, again it will start from here. I'll have as 101101, like this it will continue. Okay, so this whatever I'm getting without any repetition, that is said to be the fundamental period. Okay, so the PN sequence, the n will give you the fundamental period. Okay, so then comes that's what here I have mentioned, that after if my PN sequence n consists of 6 bits. Okay, after 6th bit again whatever data I've got initially, the same I'll get again once again. Okay, so this process will continue. So this PN sequence whatever is obtained, it is nothing but the periodic signal. Okay, periodic signal in the sense after certain time the same sequence will repeat once again. That is what the periodicity means. Okay, so let me just take one example and show you how the PN sequence will be generated. Okay, so here let me consider I'm taking 4 flip-flops. 4 flip-flops, m is 4. Okay, so if m is 4, I need to get n is equal to 2 power m minus 1, which is nothing but 2 power 4 minus 1, which is nothing but 15. I need to get 15 as my pseudo noise sequence. Okay, let us find whether I'm getting 15 or not. Okay, so in order to do that, let me consider I have 4 flip-flops. This is my first flip-flop, C1 flip-flop. Okay, so I will write the names later. This is other flip-flop. This is the third one. This is the fourth one. Okay, let me name this as C0, C1, C2, C3. C3 are my flip-flops. Okay, so here it has to perform the shift operation. Generally, for the shift registers, we'll use D flip-flop. Okay, the reason behind why we are using D flip-flop is if you have a 0, if the data input is 0, the output will be equal to 0. If the data input is 1, then the output will be equal to 1. Okay, so because of that advantage, since we have to just shift the whatever data we are giving to the next flip-flop, we'll be using D flip-flop here, D flip-flop. Okay, so it's connected like this. So C3 to C2, C2 to C1, C1 to C0, and here I'll take the output. Here I'll take the output sequence. Here I'll get the output. And what I'm doing, I'm again feeding back this from the output to input. Okay, here I'm giving the feedback signal. There is no input signal here. Okay, so this is what you people have to note it down. Okay, now let me consider initially I'm initializing one more thing I forgot to take here. Instead of directly feeding back, what we'll do is we will use one XOR gate. Okay, we'll take one XOR gate, and what we'll do right here, we'll take one XOR gate, and what we'll do, whatever output we are getting from C1, whatever output I'm getting from C1 and whatever output I'm getting from C2, I'm giving it to the XOR gate, okay, which is also said to be modulo 2 adder, modulo 2 adder. Okay, and from here it is fed back. From here it is fed back as an input to the first flip-flop. Okay, so this is what the arrangement we have. Okay, so C3, C2, C1, C0 are the flip-flops. The output of C3 is connected to C2, C2 is connected to C1, C1 is connected to C0. And here I will not be giving any additional input. Instead, what I'll do, whatever C1, this is nothing but C1, this is nothing but C0. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll give it to the XOR gate. XOR gate in the sense C1 XOR C2. So C1 XOR C0. Okay, so this output is fed as an input to the first flip-flop. Okay, so this is what the this is how the connections will be. Okay, so this is how the generator may be. Okay, so now what I need to do, let me assume that initially I have to make all the flip-flops to either 0, 0, 0 or 0, 0, 1 like that. Let me consider I am initializing the outputs of the flip-flops to 0. So you all know how to make output equal to 0. So you'll have 2 pins. If you just recall your digital circuits, you'll have 2 pins. If PR is equal to 1, then you will be able to make output is equal to 1. Okay, if CLR clear is equal to 1, then you'll be able to make Q is equal to 0. So by properly giving PR and CLR values, you'll be making the flip-flop outputs, initial outputs to be 1000. Okay, 1000. Now what happens, we need to check. So this is all I'm giving you the additional information. Otherwise, in the exam, you need not write all this. You can just draw the circuit and then explain it. Okay. So here, what are my outputs? I will have C3, C2, C1, C0. Okay. And initially, I'll give for each clock pulse, what happens? We need to check. Okay, so what happens, we need to check. Okay, by giving each clock pulse only, this flip-flops will work, right? Clock pulse in the sense it should be the trailing edge triggering. Okay, trailing edge triggering pulse. If you give it to the flip-flops, then only the shifting will happen. Whatever I have here, that will be shifted to C2. Whatever I have in C2, that will be shifted to C1. Whatever I have in C1, that will be shifted to C0. This is how the operation will be. Okay, so initially I'm making, when I'm not giving any clock, I'm just providing the outputs to be 1000. Okay, now what I need to do, I will have to give the clock so that the shifting operation will happen. Okay, so initially I have one as the output here. Okay, I have one as the output here. I have 1 as the output here. Here it is 0, here it is 0, and here it is 0. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm giving the clock pulse simultaneously to all the flip-flops. Then what happens, whatever data I have here, that will shift here. Whatever data I have here, that will shift here. Whatever data I have here, that will shift here. And what about C3 value? C3 value will be like C1 XOR with C0, 0 XOR with Z0, 0, 0 XOR with 0. So you know the table of your XOR gate 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Odd number of ones, your output will be 1. Even number of ones, the output will be equal to 0. Okay, so this is what the output. So XOR 0 XOR with 0, it will be 0 only. So I'll have 0, 0 as my output here. Okay, 0 as my output because this is fed back to the first flip-flop, so that this 0 will come as the output here. Okay, so after the first clock cycle, I'll have the shifted signal as this 1 will shift here, this 0 will shift here, this 0 will shift here, and XOR operation between this C1 and C0 will appear here. C3 is nothing but C1 XOR with C0. C1 XOR with C0, 0 XOR with 0, it will be equal to 0 only. This will happen for the first clock cycle. Next, again I'll give one more clock cycle. So let me also, okay, one more clock cycle. Okay, so 0. 0 in this, now what will happen, whatever is data is available with C3, that will move to C2. Okay, whatever data is available at C2, that will come here. 0 will come here. What about C3? C3 value will be equal to this XOR with 0, this 0, 0, 0 XOR with 0, it will be 0 only. Again, I'll provide one more clock cycle. This is how the PN sequence will be generated. So which is your PN sequence? Whatever output you are getting at C0, that is nothing but your PN sequence, because this is what your output sequence, which is nothing but the PN sequence. Okay, so whatever output I'm getting at C0 is your final PN sequence. Okay, so let me again give the clock cycle. So this 0 will come here, this 0 will come here, this 1 will come here, and next 1 XOR with C3 value is 1 XOR with 0. 1 XOR with 0 is 1. Next, again I'll give one more clock cycle. Okay, so 1, 0, 0. So 0 XOR with 1, this will be 1. Again I'll give one more clock cycle. Okay, so this indicates it is trailing edge triggering. Okay, don't get confused. Okay, so next this 1 will come here, 1 will come here, 0 will come here. 0 XOR with 0, it will be 0. Next, again I'll give one more clock pulse. Again I'll give one more clock pulse. So this 0 will come here, this 1 here, 1 here, 1 XOR with 0, it will be 1. Next, again give one more clock pulse. 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, it is 0. Next, again give one more clock pulse. 0, 1, 0. 0 XOR with 1, it will be equal to 1. Again give one more clock cycle. 1, 0, 1. Here C3 value will be 1 XOR with 0. 1 XOR with 0 is 1 only. Okay, next again give one more clock cycle. So 1, 1, 0. Here I'll have 0 XOR with 1, it will be 1. So again give one more clock cycle. So 1, 1, 1, 0 XOR with 0, 1 XOR with 0, it will be 1 only. Next again give one more clock cycle. So 1, 1, 1, and 1 XOR with 1, it will be equal to 0. So this is what my next sequence. Again give one more clock cycle. So 0, 1, 1. Okay, so 1 XOR with 1, it will be equal to 0. Now again give one more clock cycle. So 0, 1, 1. 0, 0, 1. This will come here, this will come here, and this will come here, and here it is 1 XOR with 1. It will be equal to 0. Okay, give one more clock cycle. Give one more clock cycle. It will be 0, 0, 0, 1, 0 XOR with 1, it will be 1. Okay, again give one more clock cycle. So 1, 0, 0. 0 XOR with 0, it will be 0. Okay, so like that you can proceed. Okay, so now let me check what is happening. Okay, so see here, what is my initial state? Initial state which I have considered, it is nothing but 1, 0, 0, 0. This is the initial state. Okay, if you come back and check here, somewhere here I've got my sequence back. Okay, after this again it will repeat. Okay, so that's why I have told that the PN sequence is a periodic sequence. Okay, so I'll just count the pulses. How many pulses I've given? Pulses is nothing but number of clock signals I've given. So here I have not given any clock signal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so 0 to 14, total 15. N is equal to 15. Okay, total 15 states. After 15 states, what is happening? It is repeating again. See, 1, 0, 0, 0. Next, I'll get 0, 1, 0, 0. See, that is what I've got here. So 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. Next, I'll get 0, 0, 1, 0. Like that, it will repeat. Okay. Now, from this, I can say that the PN sequence, whatever PN sequence is generated, it is nothing but the periodic sequence. Okay, so let me write the PN sequence now. So what is your PN sequence here now? Which is your flip flop output will give you the PN sequence? C0 flip flop. Okay, so let me write the C0 flip flop output, which is nothing but the PN sequence. So therefore, the PN sequence is can anybody tell me the PN sequence? See the table and tell me the last one. Last number 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. Next is 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0. Next is 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4 ones, 0, 0, 0. Now again I'll get the repetition. After this, see, after 4 ones, it will repeat again 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay, like this it will repeat continuously. Okay, so if you just count the number of bits that are present in the pseudo noise sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So n value is equal to 50 is said to be the fundamental fundamental period of the pseudo noise sequence. So whenever we have to write the pseudo noise sequence, we will just write only this much. This is nothing but the pseudo noise sequence. Why I am writing only this much? Because after this it is again repeating. Okay, so the fundamental whatever I am getting initially, okay, without any repetition, that will be considered as PN sequence. Okay, so this is my PN sequence for the given problem. Okay. Hope this is clear to all of you. Is the generation of the PN sequence is clear? Is the generation of the PN sequence is clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, all of you, please try to listen to the to this module because it is very easy module. Okay, so you people can easily understand it. Okay, so make sure you learn this module properly. Okay, so come back to this. Okay, so here I've got PN sequence. Okay, so this PN sequence satisfies few properties, 3 properties. Okay, so now we'll see the properties of PN sequence. Okay, one such property is, the first property is balanced property. Okay, this balanced property, what it will do, it will tell us the number of ones and the number of zeros present in this PN sequence. Okay, so first let us calculate number of ones. Okay, number of ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ones I have. Number of zeros. Number of zeros will be equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. So always whenever you get the PN sequence, what will happen is always the number of ones will be equal to number of zeros plus 1. Okay, so if this condition is satisfied, then the PN sequence, whatever PN sequence that is obtained is said to be balanced. Okay, so here what happens, let me assume that the n value here is 15. n value here is nothing but 15. So if you add also, you'll get total number is equal to 15. Okay, so n value is more. Okay, so what I need to do, I need to find out the probability. So probability of 1, probability of 1, how will you find the probability of 1? Number of times, the number of times 1 is occurring, divided by total number of bits. Okay, total number. So here the number of ones that is occurring is 8. 8 divided by 15. Okay. In the same way, P of 0. P of 0 will be equal to the same number of times zeros are occurring. Zeros are occurring divided by total number. Okay, so here it is nothing but 7 by 15. Okay, if you just try to find, it will be almost equal. Okay, so P of 1 will be almost equal to P of 0. Okay, which is nothing but in general it will be half. Okay, probability of 1 it will be almost equal to probability of 0, which will be nothing but 1 by 2. Okay, so this is what the balance property. Here we say that the obtained PN sequence is balanced only if the number of ones is equal to number of zeros plus 1. Okay, so this is what the condition. This is said to be the balance property of the PN sequence. Okay, then the second property is nothing but the run property. Run property. Okay, run property. So what this run property will tell us is, I will take one example and I'll explain you. So 0 0 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 1. Okay, so this is what I have. Okay, so total number of runs that that is available in this PN sequence. This is nothing but the PN sequence. So the same examples PN sequence I have taken. So this is the PN sequence, not the same PN sequence. PN sequence that is generated using our circuit I have taken. Okay, so run property. What this run property will tell us is how many number of runs that will be present in this PN sequence that will be obtained. So how will you find? So this will tell us if I have continuous zeros or continuous ones, then that will be considered as one run. Okay, see here I have 0 0 0. This I'll consider as one run. Here one run. Here I have only one, so one run. One more run. I'll just write this again. So this is the first run where I have 3 zeros continuously. Here next after 3 zeros I have only 1 1. So this one can be considered as one run. This 0 0 can be considered as third run. This can be considered as 4 runs. Next fourth run. Next here I have 0. 0 in the sense like I have only one continuously. See here what I need to check here is whether I have continuous zeros and continuous ones like that. Okay, so if you just observe, if I have continuous ones or continuous zeros, then that will be considered as one run. Okay, so if you observe here, I have continuously 3 zeros, so this will be considered as one run. Then after that, I have only one is there. Okay, so this will be considered as one run. Okay, then again I have 0 0. This will be considered as one run. This 1 1 1. This is considered as one more run. This is only one 0. This is considered as one run. This only one run. Only one 0 1 run. All fours one run. So the total number of runs available here will be equal to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay. So total number of runs in general is given by n plus 1 divided by 2. Okay, so n is nothing but 15. 15 plus 1 divided by 2. This is nothing but 8. Okay, so for this particular PN sequence, I have 8 runs. Okay, so that is what the run property will tell us. And specifically, if you want to find out the length of the run. Okay, so what we'll do is we will take, I'll give you the definition here. Out of total number of runs 1 by 2 power n of total number of runs out of all this, the total number of runs will be given by 1 by 2 power n of total runs total runs are of length n. Okay, so I'll just explain you this definition. This is the definition. I'll explain you this definition using the same sequence. Okay, so out of the total number of runs, okay, I have 8 runs, right? Out of this total 8 runs, how many runs will be of length n? Okay, this n indicates the length of run. Okay, so here I have 3 zeros. Okay, so the length of this run is 3. Okay, here I have only one, so the length of this run is 1. Here I have 2 bits, so the length of this run is 2. Okay, so that is hot. So if I want to get the length of number of runs with length n, I have to I can find by like this. Okay, so what is that? N is equal to 1. First I'll consider n is equal to 1, because here my runs can be can consist of either one as a length, or 2 as a length, or 3 as a length, or 4 as a length. Okay, so I need to find how many runs I have here with length equal to 1. That is what I need to find. So n is equal to 1 indicates the length. Okay, so the length is equal, n is equal to 1. Okay, so how many runs are available with this length? Okay, so that is what I need to find here. So that can be given by 1 by 2 power n into total runs. Total runs. That will give the length of the length of the run and how many runs that will be given. Okay, length of the run is given by this n. This n is, it gives you length of the run. Okay, now I want when n is equal to 1. When my length of the run is 1, how many such runs I'll get? Okay, so runs will be equal to 1 by 2 power n into total runs. So this I can write as 1 by 2 power n, 2 power 1. I am taking length of the run as 1. So 2 power 1 into total runs. Total runs I have got as 8. So it will be equal to 4. So now I have 4 runs with length equal to 1. Let us just find out. So here this is the first run with length 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I have got 4 runs with single bit in it. Okay, it means that the length of the run is 1. Okay, so what are those runs? So runs is equal to, what are those runs which have got 2, 5, 6, 7. 2, 5, 6, 7 are the runs. 2, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so these are the runs of the pseudo noise sequence that is generated with the length of the run to be 1. In the same way, let me consider n is equal to 2. Okay, n is equal to 2 in the sense my length of the run should be equal to 2. Okay, length of the run should be equal to 2. So how will you calculate that? Same formula, 1 by 2 power n into total runs. Total runs. Okay, so that is given by 1 by 2 square into total runs is 8. So 8 by 4. 8 by 4, it is nothing but 2. So I will get in my sequence I should get length of the runs to be 2. Okay, it means that the bits in each run should be 2, and such kind of combinations I am getting 2. Okay, so let us see. Here I have the first one 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. So I have 2 runs like that. Okay, and the runs are given by what are those? 3 and 5. 3 and 4. Okay, runs are nothing but 3, 4. Okay, so this is what the second run. Coming to the third run, n is equal to 3. So 1 by 2 cube into 8. So that will be equal to 8 by 4. 8 by 8. So that will be equal to 1. It means that in my PN sequence, whatever is generated, I will have 3-bit length sequence as one run. Okay, so what is that? We'll see. See, here I have 0, 0, 0. The length of this run is nothing but 3. Okay, so the run number is 1. Run number is 1. Okay, then I have left out only 1. So total, if you just add all this, I've got 4 plus 2, 6, 6 plus 1, 7. Okay, only 1 is left out. So 8 minus 1, the last one with the n is equal to 4, we'll calculate in this way. 8 minus 7 is equal to 1. So one run one run will be of length 4, okay. And what is that run number is, just see the run number with 4 as the length, see 8, okay. 8 is the run number. Okay, so this is how we find the we will use the run property to find out whether the number of whether whatever pseudo or noise sequence we have got is right or wrong. Okay, so run is equal to 8. This is what the second property. Coming to the third property. Okay, third property, it is nothing but the autocorrelation property. Third property is nothing but the autocorrelation property. Here we need to check how the data is correlated. Okay, so that is what we'll be generally finding the autocorrelation property. And you know that the autocorrelation property is satisfied the periodicity. Okay, so that also will be studying here. So generally the autocorrelation property for your pseudo noise sequence is given by RD. This D is nothing but the delay. Okay, so here we will be finding the delay only. So RD is equal to 1 by n summation. This is a formula you have to find out the autocorrelation property. N is equal to 1 to n C of n into C of n minus D. Okay, so what you need to do here, you need to find the you need to take different delays and you need to find out the correlation there. Okay, so first let me consider where D is nothing but the lag, okay, or the delay. Okay, and n is nothing but the length of PN sequence, total length of PN sequence. Okay, so this is how we using this formula will find we will try to verify the autocorrelation property. Okay, so first let me consider, I will consider the same example. What is that example? M is equal to 4. M is equal to 4. What is my sequence? I have 0 0 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 4 ones. Okay, so this is what the sequence I have when m is equal to 4. So I need to verify the I need to find out the autocorrelation function here. So the to calculate the autocorrelation function, this is what the formula I have. So now let me consider my D is equal to 0. First I am considering D is equal to 0. It means that I need to find R of 0. R of 0 is nothing but 1 by n value when m is equal to 4 is n value will be equal to 2 power 4 minus 1, which is nothing but 15. So R of 0 is nothing but 1 by 15 summation n is equal to 1 to n 1 to 15. Let me write the values. C of n into C of n minus D. D is nothing but 0. Okay, so it will be equal to R of 0 can be found by using this equation. So n is equal to 1 to 15 C of n into C of n. Okay, so this further can be written as R of 0 is equal to 1 by 15 summation n is equal to 1 to 15 C of n C square of n. Okay, so using this we'll be able to find out what is R of 0. Okay, so if you want to find R of 0, I need to know what is C of n. Okay, C of n. So what I'll do, first I'll code this PN sequence. This is nothing but the PN sequence. I'll code this PN sequence using NRZ bipolar. Okay, NRZ bipolar in this is if you have 0, we'll take it as minus 1. If you have 1, we will take it as plus 1. Okay, so let me just take the sequence as it is first. 0 0 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 1. Okay, so now I will code it. Okay, that coded one I am writing it as C of n. C of n is 0. For 0 I'll write as minus 1. For 1 I'll write as plus 1. 0 minus 1 0 minus 1 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 0 minus 1 1 plus 1 0 minus 1 1 plus 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Okay, so this is here C of n. Okay, for my to find R of 0, I need to take C square of n. Okay, so what will be C square of n? See, this is my C of n values. I need to get C square of n. C square of n is nothing but minus 1 square. It will be 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Okay, now what I need to do to find R of 0, I need to take as 1 by 15 summation n is equal to 1 to 15 Cn square. In this is like I need to add all this. Summation indicates addition of all this. If you add all this 1 plus 1 plus 1, how many ones you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so your summation of Cn square value is nothing but 15. So it is nothing but 1 by 15 into 15. So your R of 0 value is 1. In the same way, we need to find when D is equal to 1. Okay. How will you find D is equal to 1? Again, we'll take C of n, whatever I have here. Okay, C of n is nothing but the bipolar NRZ representation of this sequence. So C of n is nothing but minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1, it is 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. This is your C of n. Now what I need to do? I need to shift it. Okay, so C, okay, before that let me write the equation. D R of 1. R of 1 is nothing but 1 by 15 summation n is equal to 1 to 15 C of n into C of n minus 1. That is what the basic formula. So basic formula is this one, right? R d is equal to 1 by n. Summation n is equal to 1 to n C of n into C of n minus d. D value is 1 now. So R of 1. Okay, when you substitute d is equal to 1 in this first equation, I'll have this equation C of n minus 1. Okay, so now C of n and C of n minus 1 should be multiplied. Okay, multiply and then add all the values. Okay, but here I have got C of n. I need to get C of n minus 1. Okay, C of n minus 1 is nothing but the shifted version. So whatever you have here, I will have this point minus 1 will come here. This is how it is shifting. Okay, shifted version of C of n. Okay, so minus 1, this minus 1 will come here, 1 will come here, minus 1, minus 1, 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so here I'll be left out with one more 1. Okay, so here what will happen? Circular shift will happen. It means that the last one will come back here. Okay, so this is what this is how the shifting will happen. Okay, after shifting it, I need to multiply both of them. So let me multiply C of n into C of n minus 1. N minus 1, multiply these two. Minus 1 into 1 equals minus 1. Minus 1 into minus 1, 1. Minus 1 into minus 1, 1. 1 into minus 1, minus 1. Minus 1 into 1, minus 1. Minus 1 into minus 1, 1. Minus 1, 1. Minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. Minus 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so this is your C of n into C of n minus 1. Okay, now what I need R of 1. R of 1 is nothing but 1 by 15 into summation n is equal to 1 to 15 C of n into C of n minus 1. Okay, so C of n into C of n minus 1, and I've got like this. Now I need to add all this. Okay, minus 1 plus 1, it will be 0. 0 plus 1, it will be 1. 1 minus 1, it will be 0. 0 minus 1, minus 1. Minus 1 plus 1, 0. Okay, so these two will get, it will be 0. You need to add entire thing, ma. So these two you can add, these two add. Okay, and here I have 3 ones, and here I have 3 ones, so everything will get cancelled with each other. So finally when you add all this, you'll get as minus 1. Just check this. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Add all this. Between all this you need to add. Okay, that's what I need to say here. When you add, you'll get the value as minus 1. Okay, so this entire value will reduce to minus 1. So R of 1 is equal to 1 by 15 into minus 1. Okay, so that will be equal to minus 1 by 15. Okay, so this is what I've got for R of 1. Now what I need to do, I need to find R of 2. In the sense D is equal to 2. When D is equal to 2, again I need to find. So when D is equal to 2, here R of 2 will be equal to 1 by 15 summation n is equal to 1 to 15 C of n into C of n minus D. N minus D in the sense n minus 2. D value is 2 here. Again you need to get here C of n, then C of n minus 2, then multiply both of them, C of n into C of n minus 2, multiply both of them, and you need to check. Okay, C of n is what is that? I have minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 ones. Okay, so now what I need to do, I need to shift right by 2 times. Okay, in minus 2. Okay, so whatever I have minus 1, it will come here, minus 1 here, minus 1 here, again minus 1, 1. Okay, so from here it is shifting. Okay, from here it is shifting. This is coming here, this is coming here, this is coming here, this is coming here, like that it is happening. If anybody is getting any doubt here, this shifting thing, you can ask me. Let me write the expression: minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, 1, and again see this 1 has come here, this one 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 has come here, this minus 1 has come here, this one has come here, this minus 1 has come here, this one has come here, this one has come here. So I will be left out with 2 more ones. Those 2 ones, it will be circularly shifted. So it will come here, 1, 1. Okay, so this one will come here, then this one will come here. Okay, so now you multiply everything. So minus 1 into 1, it is minus 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1, 1, 1, minus 1, 1, 1. Okay, now you add everything again. So if you again add everything, minus 1, minus 1, minus 2, minus 2 plus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 2, minus 2 plus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 2, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. Okay, then minus 6. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minus 6 plus 5, it is minus 1. So when you add all this, summation n is equal to 1 to 15, C of n into C of n minus 2, that will be equal to minus 1. Okay, so now what I need to do, I need to find R of 2. R of 2 is nothing but 1 by 15 summation. 1 second now. Okay. So summation n is equal to 1 to 15, C of n into C of n minus 2 will be equal to 1 by 15 into minus 1, that will be equal to minus 1 by 15. So if you just observe what is happening, R of 1 also I got minus 1 by 15, R of 3 also, 2 also I got is 1 by 15. So if you just proceed, you will have for R of 0 you have got as 1. Okay, you just check here. R of 0, where is it? R of 0, R of 0, R of 0 you got as 1. Okay, and R of 1, R of 1, R of 2, R of 3, so on until R of 14. Until all this, if you try to find the values, you will have as minus 1 by 15. Okay, now if you take R of 15, what happens? R of 15 in the sense D will be equal to 15. Okay, D will be equal to 15. Okay, just come back to the sequence. C of n is this one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so I'm shifting 15 times circularly. So what happens again? I'll get back the same thing, same C of n only. I'll repeat this statement. See, I have all this PN sequence I have represented using bipolar. Now what I need to do, I need to circularly shift it by 15 times. Okay, 15 times. In the sense, whatever I have here, I have to move it to the, after 15 numbers, I need to move it. So that is what I will get the same thing again, once again. Okay, I'll get as -1, -1, 1, -1, like this only I'll get. Okay, so R of 15 value will also be equal to 1 only. Again, in the same way, R of 30 value will be equal to 1. In the same way, R of 45 value will be equal to 1. So this autocorrelation function is also satisfying the periodic property. Okay, and if you try to draw the diagram, or in general, we can write as R of D is equal to autocorrelation function in general can be represented as R of D is equal to, and again in between R of 15 to R of 30 it will be equal to 1 by 15 only, like R of 16, R of 17, R of 18 until R of 29. Those all values will be again equal to 1 minus 1 by 15 only. Okay, so in general we can write as R of D is equal to 1 for D is equal to 0 plus or minus n plus or minus 2n, because see 0 plus or minus n, it means that 15 plus or minus 2n, it is nothing but 30 plus or minus 4n, so on like this. Okay, so for all this its values will be equal to 1. Okay, so on. Okay, its values will be equal to 1 and it will be equal to minus 1 by n. If you observe, I've got is minus 1 by 15. 15 is nothing but n. So minus 1 by n. Otherwise in this is for rest of the values, it will be equal to minus 1 by n. Okay, now if you try to plot this autocorrelation function, okay, so let me plot the autocorrelation function by taking R of D on y-axis and D on x-axis. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, so on until 15, 16, 17, here I'll have 14. Okay, in the same way I'll have minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, so on, minus 15. Okay, so what will happen if you try to plot the autocorrelation function? You know that R of 0 value is 1. Here I'll have 1. Okay, 1. Okay, then what will happen? It will reduce like this, and at R of minus 1 and at R of 1, its value will be equal to minus 1 by 15 or minus 1 by n in general. Okay, and then after that it will be constant until 14. Here until minus 14 it will be constant. After minus 14, what will happen? Again I'll get the same structure whatever I've got here. Again it will be constant. Again at 30 I'll have like this. Again at this at minus 14 or minus 15, I'll have the signal in this way. So this is what the autocorrelation function of the PN sequence, and this is satisfying the autocorrelation property, which is nothing but the periodicity. Okay, so it is changing. Okay, and here one more advantage what we will come to know is, like see here I have 15-bit sequence. Okay, 15-bit sequence. So you can understand that with R of 0 I have 1 as my autocorrelation function, and others it is not, it is minus 1 by n. Okay, so from this I can see that just by shifting 1 bit. Okay, so you had like this, no, 0, what is that, 0 0 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 1. Okay, so what you can do is, for different users, instead of generating the different PN sequence, what we can do is the same PN sequence, this one can be shifted 1 bit. Okay, it means that 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 1 0 1 0 1 1 1. Okay, so this can be used for the other person. Okay, instead of generating different PN sequence from the same PN sequence, by just shifting we can use that PN sequence as well. Okay, so that is what the one more thing. And if you just check, the autocorrelation function here for when you just check for n is equal, d is equal to 0 and d is equal to 15. Okay, so what is happening? I've just shifted one bit. Okay, sorry, d is equal to 0 and d is equal to 1. Okay, so what we did, when d is equal to 0, we have not shifted anything. We have just taken c of n itself. When d is equal to 1, we have circularly shifted. It means that the last bit I have taken it first. Okay, so with that, the autocorrelation function is negative. Okay, so which indicates that they're not correlated with each other. Okay, so instead of generating different PEN sequence, what we can do is we can, by shifting, by circularly shifting one bit, you'll be able to generate the PN sequence, which can be used for the other person. Okay, other person, transmitter and receiver. Okay, instead of using different PN sequence, the same PN sequence, by shifting it, we'll be able to use for the other user I can say. Okay, so this is what the three properties of your PN sequence. Okay, hope this is clear to all of you. Any doubts you have until here, any in the property or while writing the shifting, representing and all? Anybody has got any doubts, you can ask me. Hope you all understood the three properties. Okay, so let me just revise all the three properties once again. So the first property, so PNC sequence generation, you understood very well. You'll have the shift registers. Okay, shift register which is made with flip-flops. Okay, so here except 0 0 0 0, here I have told you that you cannot use 0 0 0 0. Okay, the reason I'll tell you. So 0 0 0 0. Okay, I have told you that except this sequence you can use any other sequence. The reason behind this is, the reason